Glad you could join me as we explore the National Council of State Supervisors of Foreign Languages and the American Council of Teachers of Foreign Languages can-do statements. What are can-do statements? Can-do statements are self-assessment checklists used by language learners to assess what they can do with language in the interpersonal, interpretive, and presentational modes of communication. What are the modes of communication? This is divided into 5 categories. Interpersonal, or person-to-person, is a productive skill. Presentational speaking, or spoken production, which is also a productive skill. Presentational writing, written production, also a productive skill. Interpretive listening, a receptive skill. And interpretive reading, also a receptive skill. What 2 purposes can can-do statements serve? 1. For programs, the statements provide learning targets for curriculum and unit design serving as performance indicators. And 2. For language learners, the statements provide a way to chart their progress through incremental steps. How can the can-do checklist be used best by the teacher and learner? Checklists are best used by learners and learning facilitators as part of an overall reflective learning process that includes setting goals, selecting strategies, self-assessing, providing evidence, and reflecting before setting new goals. How do the checklists help learners? Learners use a checklist to record what they think they can do. They may also realize that the progression may not be the same for each mode, interpersonal, interpretive, or presentational. It determines their progress on the proficiency ladder, assessing each mode separately. Learners can upload audio, video, or text files linked to specific can-do statements. This provides evidence of what they can do. Learners can check off specific can-do statements when they are able to demonstrate that they can perform that specific task. It is not necessary to demonstrate every task in specific order. These may differ for each learner depending on the context and their goals for learning the language. How do the checklists help teachers? Teachers can use the global can-do benchmarks and main indicators to set long-term learning goals. They have an idea of what their students should be able to do with language after 1 semester, after 1 year, etc. They can reevaluate their goals when informed by assessment. Formative assessment informs and directs teaching and learning. Teachers can choose more specific can-do statements or customize new ones to establish learning targets for thematic units and lessons. It can help drive their instruction to be more performance-oriented and provide more opportunities for young learners to produce language. They can model goal setting for their learners. They can share with their students the can-do statements they are targeting for each lesson. This will help show students how those targets relate to the unit goals. It encourages learners to set their own goals as well. It provides the necessary class time and guidance for self-assessment and reflection. When teachers develop performance assessment, they can use the wording from the can-do statements so that learners know exactly what is expected of them. Teachers help learners understand that what they can write or say actually demonstrates what they have or have not mastered of the can-do statements. In this way, teachers can help students become more independent learners, able to set their own goals and provide evidence of them. In other words, to become autonomous and lifelong learners. What does research tell us about motivation? Students that are more engaged in their own learning process are more intrinsically motivated. Research shows that the ability of language learners to set goals is linked to increased student motivation, language achievement, and growth in proficiency. To get free PDF copies of the ACTFL can-do statements for teachers and students, visit their website at www.actfl.org. Thank you very much for attending this short presentation on the ACTFL can-do statements. I hope this information proves valuable to you and your students for setting goals in the future.